The fallout from the Zelenskyy meltdown is being felt across the world. The turnaround in border security has been dramatic despite Democrat opposition. Plus, will Byron have an opponent in the race for Florida governor? All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.
God bless the United States of America.
Good evening, friends, and welcome to the 13-minute news hour. If you're new to the show, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to start with Ukrainian President Zelenskyy and the fallout from his meltdown in the Oval Office on Friday. Now, everything was supposed to go so smoothly. Zelenskyy was there to sign a minerals deal with the United States, which is designed to accomplish what I consider to be three main goals. One, by signing this deal, the United States enters into a business arrangement which will help pay back the billions and billions of dollars we've given to Ukraine since the start of the war in 2022. Other countries, Britain, France, Germany, and more, have loan arrangements with Ukraine. They will get paid back. But Zelenskyy expected a blank check from the U.S., and this is a way to get some of that money back. Second, it helps the U.S. break into the rare earth minerals market that is dominated by China, thus helping our national security. And third, as President Trump tried to explain to Zelenskyy, the presence of Americans in Ukraine for this business deal serves as the first layer of a security guarantee. So it was simple. Just come to the U.S., sign the deal, and have a nice photo op. What did Zelenskyy do instead? He tried to negotiate on national television and change the terms, demanding additional security guarantees that are not on the table. That's when everything went south.
We're going to feel very good.
Feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards.
Cards.
Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III.
It was a complete public relations debacle for Zelenskyy and for Ukraine in general. The ambassador to the United States from Ukraine, Oksana Makarova, can be seen shaking her head in disbelief at what was happening. Now, following his ejection from the White House, Zelenskyy headed to Europe, where he was welcomed with open arms by British Prime Minister Starmer. A host of other world leaders stepped up to announce their support as well.
In a sign of the deepening, definite diplomatic divide between Washington and Europe, support for the Ukrainian president across the Atlantic was immediate. "Dear Ukrainian friends, you are not alone," said Poland's Prime Minister. "Dear Vladimir," said Germany's most likely next leader, "we stand with Ukraine in good and testing times. We must never confuse aggressor and victim in this terrible war."
Now, this is where things get difficult, because it appears the whole European Union wants a full-on war with Russia. They're demanding that the United States do something, and that something is war. Fortunately, Trump has other plans, and those plans were outlined perfectly by Vice President J.D. Vance in the Oval Office.
For 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
President Trump seems to be the only one who wants peace, and he is continuing to push forward. Zelenskyy indicated over the weekend that he is willing to sign the minerals deals, but he continues to push for other security guarantees, meaning American boots on the ground or a willingness to attack Russia. That's not going to happen. And the sooner Zelenskyy comes to terms with that, the sooner this war will end. All right, next let's talk about actual border security. But first, if you're new to the show or haven't subscribed yet, regardless of platform, just search out my name, hit that subscribe button, make sure notifications are turned on. That way you can follow the show and help us grow. Next, the chief of the U.S. Border Patrol, Michael Banks, recently provided an update on the success of the Trump administration's border efforts. It's amazing what can happen when a president is focused on securing the border rather than leaving it wide open for gang members, drug dealers, and human traffickers. Here's a message from Chief Banks on the new Trump approach.
With the strong leadership of President Trump and Secretary Noem, we are conducting removal flights for Mexican nationals, repatriating them deep into southern Mexico. If you cross illegally, you will be removed far from the border. There's no coming back in a few hours or trying again in several days. Illegal entry is not a revolving door. Being deported is final. These flights stop repeat crossings, disrupt cartel operations, and allow our Border Patrol agents to focus on securing the nation, not rearresting the same individuals over and over.
Contrast that message with the message that was sent by Biden, Harris, Mayorkas, and the entire Biden team. They would deny there was a problem at the border while millions poured in. Then they said the only way to fix the problem was through new legislation. Right. Biden caused the problem, and Trump is fixing it. Over the weekend, Banks posted a stunning statistic. Writing on X, Banks said, "Effective policies, real results. February proved our combined efforts in securing the border work. USBP apprehended 8,326 illegal aliens at the U.S.-Mexico border, making it the lowest month in recorded history. We will continue to detect, arrest, identify, prosecute, and remove all individuals who dare to break our country's laws by entering illegally. The border is closed to illegal immigration. Do not come." As reported by Breitbart News, this number marks a 94% decrease from February of last year, when 140,641 encounters took place. This is just incredible. And once again, it shows that everything the Democrats said about the border during the Biden administration was false. The American people wanted security, and Trump is delivering. On the flip side, Democrats and the media continue to not only blast these border security efforts, but they're also leaking information on upcoming ICE raids. This happened again in Virginia, and this time it was a reporter who did the leaking. Here's former ICE Director Jonathan Fahey.
What can be done? These could be, people could be charged with obstruction of justice, which is a federal felony, carries up to 10 years in prison. And it's really justified here because these agents that are going out there on behalf of us to keep us safer are being put in danger because of these leakers trying to advance their political agenda. So this is extraordinarily serious. Nobody has been, hurt or killed at this point because we know, but somebody really bad may have already gotten away and can harm somebody else.
The Democrats and those on the left are so lost. They are so disconnected with the American people, and yet they double down on the efforts that the American people reject. We want these bad people out of the country, and anyone who subverts that effort and interferes with law enforcement actions should be prosecuted. Next, let's talk about the race for governor of Florida. Current Governor Ron DeSantis is term limited, so the 2026 race will be wide open, and Congressman Byron has thrown his hat in the ring and has received the endorsement of President Trump.
We need to live in the future. This is one of the reasons why Donald Trump has decided to endorse me for governor. I'm thankful to have his support, and I just want to make sure that we take our state to the next level. And real quick, to my friend Vivek Ramaswamy, and I heard his comments. I wish him all the best in Ohio, but Florida is the best state in the country now, and we're going to remain the best state in the country.
During that interview, Donalds was asked about the growing speculation that Governor DeSantis is pushing his wife, Casey, to run for the spot, which seems quite unorthodox, but the talk's out there. Here's Donalds.
Well, listen, Maria, nothing's easy, but, I remember back in 2018 campaigning for then Congressman DeSantis, who had the support of Donald Trump, and that worked out great for our state. So in 2025, moving into 2026, I'm really honored to have the same support from President Trump. He has a history of making good picks, Maria, and I think his picks have always worked out for the Sunshine State. And happy to have President Trump's support. We'll worry about the primaries as other people decide to get in the race or not, but we're going to be focused on Floridians. We're going to be focused on the ideas to move our state to the next level.
On Friday, during a press conference, Casey DeSantis was asked if there's any truth to the rumors that she'll run for governor. And this was her reply.
For the First Lady, lots of committee members are wondering if you can confirm whether or not you are exploring a run for governor. And if so, what your And if so, what your pitch is to voters about your qualifications?
Well, I would say one thing, to quote the late, great Yogi Berra, when you come to a fork in the road, take it.
Governor DeSantis followed by saying that according to the late Rush Limbaugh, Casey DeSantis is more conservative than he is. During a press conference last week, DeSantis was asked about Donald's being endorsed by President Trump, and the question drew this response.
Donald Trump just got into office. I want these congressmen focused on enacting his agenda. They haven't done very much yet. They're not putting his executive orders into place. We'll see what they do on the spending. But we have such a narrow majority that to be trying to campaign other places and missing these votes, I think is not something that's advisable at all.
So, are we looking at a Donald-DeSantis race? Let me know what you think about that prospect in the comments. And next, here's some rapid-fire headlines from around the country. First, legislators in California are at it again, and this time Democrat Rick Zyber is in the spotlight. Zyber has introduced a bill that would make it more difficult for homeowners to defend themselves in case of a break-in. As reported by KTLA Channel 5, the bill seeks to eliminate certain circumstances under which homicide is justifiable, including, among others, in defense of a habitation or property. Republican Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco said in a statement that the bill would tie the hands of residents while coddling criminals. Zyber responded to the criticism by saying the bill was, quote, never intended to limit a crime victim's right to defend yourself, your family, or your home. The goal is to prevent wannabe vigilantes like Kyle Rittenhouse from provoking violence and claiming self-defense after the fact. I see. Next, perennial losing candidate Stacey Abrams is under investigation regarding her nonprofit organization, the New Georgia Project, for alleged illegal fundraising activity. As reported by the Gateway Pundit, the Georgia Senate Committee will focus on alleged campaign finance violations and possibly the recent New Georgia Project firings allegedly tied to efforts to unionize the voting rights organization, according to Atlanta First News. It's amazing that the same people keep popping up over and over again, and the Democrats still support them. Finally, Breitbart News is reporting on a recent poll that shows 75% of Democrats do not believe that Joe Biden and his team deliberately kept the border open for migrants. 75%. Apparently, they think the border crisis just happened by accident. Overall, the Harvard-Harris poll found that 52% of Americans feel the border crisis was deliberate, while 48% said it wasn't. Wonder what these Democrats say when they see just how fast President Trump was able to do something about the border, and yet Biden could do nothing. Friends, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. And remember, today's show's one sheet is available to Patreon supporters using the link in the description. The one sheet gives you the links to all the videos and stories used on today's show, so you can dive even deeper into each issue. And with that, our next show will be Friday evening at the usual time. Until then, I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-Minute News Hour. All right, friends, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button above. Once you do, tell your friends, share it, spread the word about the 13-Minute News Hour so we can keep growing. And for more great content, check out these videos right here, and I'll see you next time.